We walk around the front garden. We have this unusual Nymphofia here. I wonder if it's a hybrid with multiflora. It has those weird up-facing flowers, but it's blooming a hell of a lot earlier. Um, we have lots of crinums in bloom. It's morning. The sun's starting to come down on some of the plants. The crinums look their best in the morning. The flowers close a little bit with the sun. We have lots of daffodil leaves falling down that are drying up for the season. Here's some crinums over here and along the walkway. We also have a lot of annuals back here, including poppies, bachelor buttons, none so pretty, or silent armeria back there. Let me close that up a little bit. Okay, we have some diorama growing here. This is probably a rectum or one of its hybrids. There are other dioramas in here that haven't flowered yet, as you can see the foliage. We go back, we have chives. These are supposedly different colors, but they're fading now. So they were seed from Gelito. Back in there we have some Amaryllis belladonna leaves. There's a chlorogalum from California growing a big long spike. There's Taiwan lilies, Lilium formosanum growing here. These I do have to put the deer spray on, make sure the deer don't munch them. Here's a really nice dianthus here. This is probably the what are they called, sooty or something like that. They're a long, obviously based on Dianthus superbus, and they have these really nice flowers. This guy really grew really well in the last couple of years. We have blue senecios making seed, blue and purple ones, or belladonnas. And then we have real hippeastrum that I got from eBay from Texas that survived here with chips on them in the winter. A Pelargonium zaharii with its lacy foliage and a flower stalk coming. There are lordums elsewhere, more blue senecio back, and back there is a Aristea, which will probably bloom this year. It's pretty big. It got some protection. The osteospermums are blooming. This is Osteospermum jucundum, and it makes seeds if you've got different clones. And lots and lots of haplocarphya scaposa, the yellow flower, looking really nice and fresh in the morning. It's cavorting here with Nigella in blue and Silene in hot pink and whitish color, or lightest pink, and then of course the rose campion, which is a fairly aggressive self-seeder, but a really nice biennial. When it starts to seed, I'll yank them. Then we have a nice Nymphofia caulescens that from seeds I just dropped after cleaning here. There's gingers coming up, hedychium, that's probably densiflora mostly. And this one down here among the impatient Spalforii is Hedychium coronarium, which survived with its own leaves for protection. We have a old-fashioned Clematis jacksonii here. It came with the property. We'll walk out along the path here. We'll see what we've got. There's a hibiscus coming up. This one came up from self-sown seed from this guy over here. They have big flowers. The caulescens, Nymphofia caulescens, are getting ready to bloom. There's a nice foliage of Rudbeckia maxima. We have seedling Agapanthus here, which survived with a little bit of chips for the winter. There should be some very interesting hybrids between all the different kinds I have, and whatever the bees did. There are still daylilies here, even though I dug out a lot of them last year because of the deer pressure in the front, even though I sprayed the liquid fence to repel them. But there's still more left. I'll probably dig out most of them. I've selected a few to keep and put them in the back, but there's still more left. There's iris here as well. This will bloom later, grandiflora, or no, grandis cerulean. So one of the Louisiana irises is the last one to bloom. Back there's a really nice crinum in the morning. The crinums are everywhere and they're self-seeding. And here we have Spuria iris that I grew from seed years ago. They're pretty tall. Japanese iris will be blooming soon. And oh, the first iris crocea is out. Let's go look at that over here, past the butterfly weed. This is Iris crocea, which is an unusual one that I got seeds of years ago from a Botanic Garden seed exchange when I was at NYBG. This is Nymphofia natalensis, or that's what I got it as a plant from out west. It's kind of flopping over, but it's got huge leaves. I did have to burn out with some herbicide, some senecio polyotum without, or something like polyotum without the ray petals. I want the ray petal forms, not the apetalous forms, which look like ageratum. So I'm favoring the ones that do have petals. They're more colorful. There's also yellow senecios in here and hybrids thereof. we've got bigger ones elsewhere. Gladius papilio, and then we've got a nice yellow flowering Haplocarphya here. More crinums. This one's a little unusual. It has a little greenish in the flower. Let me close in on that. In here, in the middle, is a Rosa Hansa, but it's looking stressed, and it may have been from the possibly from the lanternflies last year, which were pretty bad on the roses. There's another big hibiscus here, Coscineus hybrid, and a little Coscineus, true Coscineus, is down in there somewhere. And this Ornithogalum magnum, or whatever it is, or ponticum, is blooming everywhere. There's some more towards the house that you see little white little things in flower. They're very graceful. They come after the daffodils. And you can see that the crinums do vary. Here's one with a completely dark backside to it. Let's see what the flower looks like inside. Yeah, this one's about darker pink. And there's a whiter one there with the red stripes on the outside. More crinums here. They started, like I said, they started to self-sow, and the clumps are growing bigger. And they're from several different sources, mostly South African, but some came from Australia, which originally came from South Africa. And then we got some from eBay. So seeds, and grew them out, and they become large, huge, hardy plants. We also grew some sweet william this year, so here's 3 nice ones in a row. Double flower ones. This was like, you know, fairy more seed from the local, like, I don't know, I think it was a local, like, Home Depot or something. And lots of crinums. The butterfly bushes are growing. We have salvia nutans in the distance. I'm still waiting for some other bulbs to come up in this area, and I haven't seen them yet. But there should be Morwillia and Haemanthus in here, but I don't see them. And this winter might have been too much for them. There's Linaria purpurea, which is really popular in British gardens. It's okay. I don't see what the big hoopla is about it. This is salvia nutans. It's kind of nearing its end, but it has these nice little graceful flowers. We have a Haplocarphya along the walkway. That's a hybrid, probably of Colescens and Northiae. And there's a Tradescantia there. We have a native clematis here. But let me go back on the path to get near the sand bed. Here's a whitish crinum. That's really nice. Yeah, the path is kind of getting taken over by crinums and whatnot. And there's some purple senecio in there. More sweet williams. There's colchicum dying back. Clematis intergrifolia, and a little bit of Haplocarphya passiflora here, which is a really cool species. Needs a little protection. There's a rose back there that got as Rosa bellarica or something like that, but it's a lot like the dog rose of Europe, just a little more compact. Another nice clematis. The clematis do need spraying because the deer will chomp on them too. This is an oldest stand of crinum here. It's grown very big. We have lots and lots of foliage of Agapanthus coming up. You can see the big leaves of some of the larger hybrids. We have bronze fennel, but I actually hit it with herbicide because it's too aggressive. Don't plant this plant. It's beautiful leaves, unless you have a meadow or something, don't plant it. I mean, it's good for black swallowtail butterflies, but it just seeds, and the tap roots are hard to dig out, and they keep coming back up, and it's a pain in the neck. Here's the sand pile. You got lots of Opuntias in bud. This is Amsonia ciliaris from Missouri, from a wildflower nursery in Missouri. And there's a haplocarphya that seeded itself in there. Another haplocarphya colony here. Behind it is Berkea purpurea, which is in spike. It's a thistle daisy with leaves that will deter all predators. Behind it is Grundo donax golden chain. Behind that is an Amsonia that I got from down south in my wanderings. I got seed of it. And I think it's like Tebra montana, but the leaf is different. The leaf has these like divisions on it. It's not like a solid surface kind of a leaf like Illustris or Tebra montana as I know it. So I don't know what it is, but I got it from down south. It was growing wild in the sand hills, and it's cool. And behind it, in this difficult area under pine trees, is Asparagus semiparticulatus I got from Panioti. He got it in Inner Mongolia. There's some green or yellowish Haplocarphya coalescens here. These are extras I put out here, and they survive here with the partial shade under these trees, which take a lot of water in the summer. And there's also datura along the road here. There's a big plant popped right back up, and we have smaller seedlings and smaller bits of plant coming up along the side here. They make nice white flowers when it gets warmer. There's a senecio over there, another one, Artemisia afra, which is very fragrant. And this big long thing reminds me of a willia, but it's actually a scilla of some sort that comes from the Mediterranean. I got it from one of the big bulb companies. Back there, there's leaves of a giant silphium. Those cut leaves right there. That's something I saw in a daily nursery in New Hampshire, but the stalks were like 15 feet tall. Hasn't bloomed here yet, but I think it will this year. And back here we have more Silenium area. We're walking along the road, and lots of the blue silicea. That's a good colored form of it right there. I can get it to come out well in the picture. We also have cone flowers. It's one of the western species over there. Or actually it's mixing probably with purpurea because I see some variation. Because they will cross with each other. And then there's a huge swath of gladiolus papilio here. This is a form I got from the late Charles Krebs in South Africa many years ago. It's absolutely hardy. The only thing that thins it out are the voles. Otherwise it's hardy. The flower is not the most attractive of the papilio group, but it's more open with less dark markings on it. And there's more of the ornithogalums and more dying back of the daffodil leaves. In this area where they're dying back, we'll probably have stratotheca and stuff later in the season. Then coming back by the sand pile, we'll move around a little bit. We have some zinnias coming up. That's perennial zinnia, Zinnia grandiflora, ice plants. There's an oxalis I missed in there. I'm constantly pulling up oxalis here. There's Dracocephalum here. I think that's arguens. There's a nice sniff Lapuntia in my shadow with a nice color flower that will probably open a little later. It's not fading from last time. We have a nice Artemisia here. This came as species Piatek. It's been a good doer. And next to it is Amsonia Georgia pancake, which is a species from down south that hasn't been quite identified, or maybe the true ciliata. There's all kinds of arguments about it. But it's definitely not the same as ciliata from Missouri. They're quite different plants. And it's also very localized in its habitat. I have found it in habitat. Accidentally stumbled across it, but the site I will keep to myself. This is another Amsonia. This is one of the Asian ones, I think. I was growing it in the school garden and bought it back here. We also have a big giant Persicaria there. That's one of the ones that's supposed to be sterile. Came out of, I don't know, the Scandinavia or something. The name escapes me at the moment, but it's big. With, again, a lot of the Moscampion in the front. We see lots of hellebore leaves back here. There's a big hellebore colony here as well. And Crocosmia lucifer, which is the thing with the big leaves, and it makes beautiful red flowers, but it does need spray to keep the deer off from chomping on the flowers. But again, they learn after a while to kind of stay away. And especially when the weather's relatively dry as it's been, that does make the sprays last longer. We have crepe myrtle in the back there under the pine tree branch. Actually, there's two of them. One came up on its own, one's a red one I planted with green leaves. And they did fine this winter. They had no dieback whatsoever. And again, lots of crinums and agapanthus everywhere as we kind of walk back to where we started. Here's another Amsonia. This is something else I grew from seed from the Rock Garden Seed Exchange. Species, I have forgotten what you were. I have a bunch of Amsonias, some of which I remember their names, some not. Here's the apetalous senecio. So I'm going to yank this out. Okay, it looks like an ageratum. It's not bad in its own right, but it's inferior to the petaled forms. That's an Crinum back there that I got from, I think I got from a guy at NYBG years ago. And they're actually not superior to the Crinums themselves. At least that particular one isn't. Or Amarine, actually, it might be. Amarine or Crinum, I forget. Back along the wall, we have the gingers growing here. They have their own leaves and some bark for protection. They're coming up pretty strong now. They're hetegenes of various sorts, probably Forestii and other similar species. We've got rhododendron that barely made it through. This rhododendron here, or Exobury azalea, just kind of croaked. I'm going to cut it out. There's polygonum, or no, podophyllum growing there. And behind it is the Cynopetalum hexandrum. There's some colchicums I put in here from a rescue garden operation, so they'll take nicely. A Hypericum from China is growing back there. Saruma, Henry Eisenbloom in this area. I've also been trying to get rid of some hellebores in this area to open it up for other things. There's another more Amsonia here. This is what I would call, yeah, this is similar to the other one, the Tabor montana, with the little bit of rough patterning in the leaves, I think. And And that's Picara back there in seed. Makes a beautiful ground cover, but does get aggressive. But it grows well, and I'm letting it go with the hellebores into the neighbor's yard to help suppress some of the weeds there, like garlic mustard and maple seedlings. And that, you know, will help make the area look prettier and also lower maintenance for them and for me. So they're not really gardeners, so they don't really know what some of the aggressive plants they have in there are. But I go in there and I help out and take care of stuff, so they don't have to worry about it. And it also makes my job easier in my garden, because whatever seeds there will seed all over in here, and then it's more to pull out. Here's a Meanthum and Virginitum, I think it is. Meanthum or something similar genus. It's white flowered, it'll be beautiful in bloom. It's a swamp plant. Behind it I see yet another senecio with no petals. So out you go. And I just let them die and dry. There's some Xanthodeschia coming up, calla lilies. There's a thistle-like thing but without prickers from Europe. There's a better flower over there, right there. And we have Parthenicum. It's one of the pyrethrum daisies in here, one of the species in bloom. Came from a mix of seeds. And here we have creeping around Phuopsis stylosa, which is a cool thing from the Caucasus. It's like veg straw with much prettier flowers. There's light pinks and dark pinks. I hope I haven't lost my dark pinks. There's a rose in here from China, some seed. I don't know what it is. It hasn't bloomed yet, and it's kind of getting buried by the Silene armeria around it. And there's an Agapanthus growing nearby, which actually might not have been a good place to plant that, but one of them will have to move eventually. But yeah, it's a pretty colorful day here in the front yard, with lots of things growing and lots of anticipated flowers coming. We've already seen the irises and stuff, and much more will bloom. Oh, one more thing we should point out here, the plowbreaker is back, or Plochmaker, from South Africa. It's the Erythrina zaharii, and it will usually bloom once in spring. Sometimes you get an later flower. One leaf is wilting, that's weird. It has prickers on the back leaves. I don't know why this is wilting, that's not a good sign. Oh, there's flower buds coming, lots of them in there. It's like a red lupin, big massive root. I do protect it with chips. I don't know how much protection it really needs, but I give it chips. Next to it is a lot of Salvia garnitica coming up, and there's hardy callas here. That's these Calla albomaculata coming up. Oops, I see a couple of what are they called? Olium canadense coming up. I'm gonna have to get those because I see the seed heads on them. I'll get them before they seed. And there's other stuff in here. There's Nymphophia nordiae in the back. There's a rose in the back. That rose is Konigun van Denmark by the post. Behind the Nymphophia, there's another little rose that grew from seed. There's also a giant haplocarphya with silver leaves in the corner there. So there's just all kinds of stuff in here. Oh yeah, the Nurembergia. Should point that out here. This beautiful white flower ground cover people should grow more of. It gets a very light chip covering. Probably hardy most winters anyway. But yeah, you never see it around for sale. I think I picked it up in California, but it's a ground cover plant or something. But it's really nice. Oh, and a senecio coronatus is blooming here from South Africa. It's the only one blooming so far.